Need a wicket, South Africa. New Zealand, another boundary would help. Oh, it's gone up. Now, someone's got to get to this, surely. Someone's got to get to it. Oh! They've knocked it off. No, New Zealand don't want to run. It's calamity out there.
South Africa versus New Zealand. Just an insane last couple of overs. I mean, I watched it like this. And Grant Elliott was the hero. He broke South Africa's hearts. Talk to me about calling that match.
Well, being a South African too for Grant Elliott, there's so much I remember about that last over because, it was so crucial. Obviously, we knew what was at stake. That was a day that had rain involved in it, so those games are sort of disjointed. And then Brendan McCullum came out and launched us into this remarkable run chase. So we got to that scenario, and I felt that with Daniel Vettori out there, we had a really cool, experienced head, and Grant Elliott's just one of those cool sort of cookies that you can rely on.
Here we go, Dale Steyn. Elliott on strike. Elliott hits it up into the grandstand, and New Zealand are in the World Cup final! Grant Elliott, Superman! South Africa despair. They're down on their knees. New Zealand goes wild. They're making the trip for the big prize.
When it went into the grandstand, I didn't see where it ended, but I knew he'd hit it that well that it was gone, and you could just tell. And then, of course, Eden Park was just, it was like everyone had thrown their arms up in the air in the crowd. Everyone was yelling and screaming, dancing and whatever, and you just could not look out the window and go up with it. It was phenomenal. I think I said something ridiculous like, New Zealand are on the way to the big dance or something like that, or and Grant Elliott's Superman, or those sorts of things just come to your mind. It was just bizarre. I mean, anyone that was at that ground that night, I think it's probably the most amazing atmosphere of sport perhaps in this country of all time. You get a bit lost in it in the commentary because you can't dwell on that, but I'll never forget the reaction.
Grant Elliott, what a super innings. New Zealand side out on the park, absolutely jubilant.
Probably as big a high as I ever had out on the playing field, was in that commentary box that night. It's one of those things, you do so much commentary on so many great spectacles and things, but it's one of those that comes back to you real quick.
And I think, that was felt throughout the nation. Of course, you felt it at the ground, but the ripple effect throughout New Zealand, it's still with us.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, people talk about it. They relive it. Williamson became, if he wasn't already, a hero against Australia, and then all of a sudden this Grant Elliott. Now, who the heck's Grant Elliott? I mean, and now can't buy a beer. Tell us about it. Tell us about how you hit Dale Steyn up into the grandstand for 6. Did you have it under control? As Graham Smith was next to me, Graham Smith, who'd been a passionate South African cricketer for so long, sitting there just looking out the window in disbelief. Another time that South Africa had fallen at that hurdle. And then he looked out at his former teammates and they were basically crying.
Morning Morkel in tears. It was
Dale Steyn lying on the pitch. I mean, some of the feeling out there, and I think television portrayed it beautifully.
Yeah, they did.
Because they got the win, the loss, the winners, the losers, the absolute emotion of Elliott going to pick up Steyn off the pitch, not celebrate, run around the ground like a madman, just accept the fact that he'd done his bit, and now it's time to just be sportsmen again and respect the opposition. It just absolutely, it's like a movie. It had everything. It just had everything that last 10 to 15 minutes, and it was just wonderful cricket. It really was.